Have you ever been totally blindsided by tears? Just wondering where on earth they came from? Well, let's dive into something that feels super personal and honestly pretty confusing sometimes. The real science behind why we cry unexpectedly.
I mean, you're just minding your own business, right? Maybe you're watching a kind of cheesy commercial or a song comes on the radio and boom, the waterworks start. It's an incredibly common thing, but man, it can leave you feeling completely bewildered.
But here is the single most important thing to get right from the start. It is not random. Your body isn't just misfiring. Our emotional system, it turns out, has its own kind of logic, even when we can't see it right away.
So, what we call crying for no reason is really just crying for an unidentified reason. Think of it like this. Everybody has an emotional tipping point, right? A threshold. And when things like stress or not sleeping enough or hormones pile on, they lower that threshold. Suddenly, it takes way less to tip you over the edge into tears.
So, what are these sneaky factors that quietly mess with our emotional defenses? Let's unpack 6 of the most common hidden triggers. And these are all backed by science. It's helpful to think of them in 2 camps: what's happening inside your body and what's going on in your mind.
First up, let's talk about the body, starting with hormones. Oh yeah, changes in hormones like estrogen and progesterone have a direct line to the mood-regulating chemicals in our brain. That's exactly why shifts during a menstrual cycle or pregnancy or menopause can make us feel so much more sensitive. Then you add in the stress hormone, cortisol, and you've got this powerful biochemical cocktail that can easily open the floodgates.
Now for what's happening in your mind. Emotional buildup. You know when we just keep pushing feelings down, ignoring them? Well, they don't just disappear. They build up. It's kind of like a dam holding back more and more water. And eventually, one tiny, little, seemingly unrelated thing can be the final crack that makes the whole thing burst.
Okay, back to the body. And this one is huge. Never, ever underestimate the power of sleep deprivation. There's a part of your brain, the prefrontal cortex, that basically acts as your emotional brake pedal. And it is super sensitive to a lack of sleep. So when you're tired, that braking system is pretty much offline, which makes you way more reactive to stuff that normally you just brush off. And it's not just about what's in your head, it's also about what you're putting into your body, or what you're not. Having low levels of key nutrients like vitamin B12, magnesium, and even iron are all linked to mood swings and instability. I mean, these are the essential building blocks for the very chemicals that keep our emotions on an even keel. And this is a really important one. Sometimes, unexpected crying can be a major symptom of underlying anxiety or depression. But here's the crucial part. It might not come with that classic feeling of worry. Instead, it can just show up physically as tension or exhaustion and this general feeling of being emotionally fragile. And finally, let's talk about high sensitivity. Now, this is not a flaw, it's not a disorder, it's a real neurological trait. So if you're a highly sensitive person, or HSP, your brain literally processes sensory information and emotional stuff more deeply. You just feel things more intensely, both the good and the bad. And hey, if this is starting to sound a lot like you are far from alone. This trait is found in about 15 to 20% of the population. So for a huge chunk of us, crying a little more easily is just a natural part of how our nervous systems are wired. Okay, so we know the triggers. But what is actually happening inside our bodies when the tears finally start to fall? It's this fascinating biological process that is so much more than just wet eyes. So get this, not all tears are created equal. You've got your reflex tears, right? The ones you get from chopping an onion. They're mostly just water, and their job is to protect your eye. But emotional tears? Totally different. They're triggered by what's going on inside us, and their chemical makeup is different too. They actually contain stress hormones, which is the whole key to what they do. And this gets to the entire purpose of a good emotional cry. It is a physiological stress release valve. When you cry, you are literally flushing stress hormones out of your body. And at the exact same time, the act of crying kicks your parasympathetic nervous system into gear. That's your body's own built-in calm down system, helping to bring you back to balance. So, understanding the why behind it all is incredibly powerful. But what do we actually do with this knowledge? Let's shift gears from the science to some real, practical steps you can start taking. Okay, first things first, it's really important to know when this might be a sign of something more serious. If your crying feels really frequent and uncontrollable, or if it comes with a constant low mood or losing interest in things you love, or if it's just getting in the way of your daily life, it is always a good idea to talk to a doctor or a mental health professional.
Now, for those more everyday moments, here are a few simple things you can try. You could start by tracking patterns. A simple journal can show you some surprising connections between crying and sleep or stress. From there, really focus on the basics. Prioritize good sleep and nutrition. And remember, if managing your emotions just feels like a constant struggle, therapy can be an incredibly powerful tool. So, if there is one thing, just one thing you take away from all this, please let it be the simple but really profound message. If you find yourself crying unexpectedly, you are not broken. You are human. Your nervous system is just talking to you in one of the most basic ways it knows how. And that really just leaves us with one final question. Instead of judging the tears or trying to shove them back down, what if we just got curious? What if we asked ourselves, what is my emotional system trying to tell me right now? That curiosity, well, that might just be the first step to understanding yourself a whole lot better.